Hello and welcome for today's video. First of all, we're gonna have a look at the last weekend tournament that apparently Apucci won in the American region, or how you want to call it. Oh, actually, that's the first guy I defeated last time that we played. Alright, let's check it out. So Apucci opting for the Sabertooth here. With Sabertooth spec even. Interesting. So cheaper technologies on the Saberteeth, and he gets 3 without any deployments. Does actually run Interceptor in case he needs some tempo. Okay, so small turn 1. Okay, Fire Badgers versus Wasp. Oh, there goes the Interceptor. So he's going through the full Sabertooth special here. Not sure why Fire Badger, to be honest, because he already has arc lights. And Saberteeth are actually pretty good at dealing with the Badgers because of their high damage. Laser sights, okay. So pretty long range big saber in the middle now. Okay. Bucci going very wide with the diagonal deployment like so. And the Badger got redeployed to the other side now. Phoenix on the job to kill those sabers because he does not have the required damage. Stormcrawlers can deal with the sabers, but not with the missile interception. I guess it can, but you just need a lot of them. But they do die to the Wasp. Okay. So very clean game so far. Okay, so it's a efficient light manufacturing versus tempo spell. More chaff in the back. Rates on all the units pretty much. Poland goes for Mustangs. Mustangs not too good against Arclights. Oh, actually he does run armor on the Arclights. Very interesting. So no more carry Arclight, but just a setup for EMP charged. Instead. Okay. Armor for a big saber and Mumbo going for the crawler spawn instead. Range of the Arclights countered by Mustang range. And some more Mustangs. Okay, interesting. So he has Fire Badger ranged now. Arclight's still not pretty much doing anything at the moment. And now we got some Mustang support, I guess, to kill off the Fangs in the front and finish the Phoenixes. Does kind of work, but not really. This side is a little bit vulnerable still. But it's good enough. So down to 1.4k. Ooh, lots of hounds, lots of marksmen. So it's hounds on the defense. A bunch of marksmen to finish off the phoenixes and deal some damage to the badgers. Badgers pick up napalm. So the badgers are very, very squishy now. Just 3k health. Not really sure what that napalm is good for. Because the Mustangs will probably not move forward into the napalm. It's just getting two groups of crawlers here coming in later. I don't think that's worth 40% less HP. Yeah, but he was just under too much pressure. Interesting. So Saberteeth here working out really nicely because he gets a lot of them for free. Doesn't waste any deploy on them. They are pretty tanky and they do counter the Stormcaller good enough with just the interception. Okay. Typhoon spec, marksman spec. Goes for the marksman. Versus giant spec on Tiger. Does not have fire on the dogs, so no hot dogs this game. But there is fire on the opposing hounds here. Interesting. So he's choosing to play standard with spiders in the back. Might have expected a big hound push here. Yeah, but spiders are do fine versus hounds. So that's minus 400 right there. Big heavy firepower on the marksman to basically kill the tarantula outright. +1 attack, so the doggies have 299 damage. No giants from his opponent yet, but there you can see the orange man chunking that spider this time. Other than that, it's just more hounds. Quick little rewind, because we know that there is a bug involved. So it's a unit drop. Ooh, worms, saber teeth again. Alright, so Apuchi is choosing to go for the saber carry yet again. Worms and Phoenix on the other side. So the Phoenix will take that round for sure. Worm, not that great into saber teeth, to be honest. Might just get one shot. Okay, maybe two shot. Yep. So basically the orange saber is the replacement for the orange marksman on this side, solving that DPS problem. Okay, so the marksman stays alive and the phoenixes will die. Shield, good item on the big chunky boy here. Good item for the worm. Drops more marksman to answer that phoenix. And opponent for some reason is getting straight into Raidens, pulling off the little switcheroo, but the switcheroo is not that great when you already deployed Phoenix beforehand. So now we have a marksman on the field that he already picked up, and then also there was this Giga marksman here. And Raidens do not perform very well if you don't have superior chaff clear. She clearly does not. That Raiden is pretty tanky with the shield. I think he barely can take it, because he clicked range this turn. Yeah, he got it. Alright. Now, good thing for opponent here is that the Raidens do have upgrades. Oh, did he just take super supply? Very greedy. Now there's a flanking worm here. Interesting. Probably predicting there will be Mustangs on this side, since he already has the great item. And the Raidens got deployed here. Just trying to delay and split apart. Okay, so far it's working nice. And that is round 6 going to Tiger. Wasp and Rhinos. Rhino is a very nice answer to the worm flank. Okay. The worm is just trying to escape, I guess. Double anti-air Mustangs. Sound pretty good though. Even the shielded rhino is not something that the Raidens can kill quite that easily. And the Raiden will hopefully get stuck on the rhino before the Mustangs get to it, because the Mustangs have additional 30 range this turn. Or actually 40, because he didn't temp range. And a greedy little oil here without ignition. Yeah, this is where the rhino is really annoying to deal with. So Mustangs murder those Raidens this turn. Tiger down to 1k. So we expect some fire this turn. Redeploys the sandworm away from the rhino, but still does not sell. I guess it's full fire bombs. Will we see fire extinguisher? That would be pretty interesting to me. I like the Apuchi play though with the hounds. Just leveling them to 2 makes them good enough as chaff clear. And helps the Mustangs clear. But here comes the fire. Wow, he does not have oil bombs, but he runs armor instead. Interesting. I haven't played with Vulcan armor yet. Oh, it's very close, but that is death on next turn because he doesn't have the fire anymore and his opponent knows there is gonna be incendiaries coming. So stays alive with 600. A good old core. Guess Vulcan drop? Okay, Vulcan drop on the other side. Huh. Yeah, there's the extinguisher. Okay. Does he add more doggos here? Yes, sir. Could even click the armor against that kind of Vulcan play, but he doesn't have to, I mean. It's already Ogre. Wonder why he wants to deploy a Rhino there. A Rhino without armor, by the way. Okay. I mean, the dogs did clear the fire, I guess. Not all that reliable, but they tried their best. And then he gets overrun by Mustang. Okay. So this is a iteration of Hound being just fine as chaff clear. So if you start with a Hound pack, you still are good to go. They just don't carry as hard anymore. I like that. I like that. Still went for the range and mech range upgrades just a little bit later than you used to do. Does he like balls? Good ball pack. Rhino, training. I think you can play all of them pretty much. Depends on your style. He might go giant or fast here. Yep, he's going for the baller. So we're balling on triple hound deploy. Haha. That's a lot of doggies. very mild tempo in terms of quick supply, but a lot of dudes on the board already. And steel balls are making it in. Double skip. Range on the doggos. Okay. It's even gonna be the corner doggos. Including the protection from the rocket. I like that play. I think this is one of the most efficient ways to do a flank nowadays. Because it's just 200 in unit cost, and the range on the dogs, if you use them as chaff clear, comes for free basically. Opponent chose to go for a -50 here to get rid of the steel balls. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful hit. However, tower is going down here. Apuchi not respecting the crawler. And that means a big counter tempo coming in that turn. Ooh. Speed for Apuchi though, very good option here. Defensive dog here in case there's a flank coming. Tower upgrade in case there's a pull. Don't know if I like the upgraded crawlers here. They still will get two-shotted by the dogs, and I mean, can't expect him to not do that, I think. Your opponent also going for a Phantom Ray for some reason, so he thinks Phantom Rays are good enough to deal with this. I don't think it is. I think you still lose your chaff. And that's why this dog flank is so efficient. But it will win him the round, I guess, because the Phantom Rays will survive. Unless the Fangs have the power. Nah, I don't believe. So opponent is deploying a lot of stuff very aggressively. Like the crawlers here, this here. And does continue to do so with a wasp. I like the defensive wasp here. That's always a great option if you want to counter a flank. In terms of techs, they are pretty even. There's just energy shield versus ground spec, I guess, or ground spec marksman actually. Oh, a steel ball here. Steel ball push still can't be held without any rockets. Opponent chose to not do anything with the Stormcallers, so he's getting punished pretty hard here. Speed spec, always great to pick later. Well, that looks quite ugly. So is this gonna be a wasp duel? Because it very well might be. Yep. Wow, even replicate, okay. Does he take impact ray? He does also take it, okay. +1/+1 on Apuchi's crawler, so he should be favored there. For some reason the Stormcaller got upgraded after doing pretty much nothing. Classical 201 play. Yeah, basically the opponent is going for a bunch of answers all over the map, but nothing at the main push, which is right there. No scorpions, nothing. The hounds pretty much all have the levels that they need. And do they both run impact drill? That's the next question. Ooh, a worm coming in? They do. Cells out of the crawler. Oh my Gideons. I like the steel ball deploy because this is just to punish the Arclight from getting deployed here. The opponent puts more crawlers here so you get more value from the dogs. And the cycle continues. Opponent is afraid now and picks up the Vulcan, which doesn't do anything against the worm. So this is slowly transitioning into a wasp worm. Anti-air on the wasp was tagged, but he does not have range, so the anti-air is still not as effective as it could be. Look at that steel ball. Taking the arc light, tanking for the hounds, taking the tower. Yeah. No answer to the worm, and he dies to the worm. Iron beam coming up straight through the gun line. Yeah, the wasp are getting fully teched now. Opponent does sell out of them, but that also means that he has basically minus 200. And there is a Ignite Copium coming. I do not like that play at all. Especially not into one sandworm. That's a little bit of an overreaction and not even a good one. Steeball's got Mech Division. So he has some late shove. Flanks are doing absolutely fantastic. Phantom Ray being absolutely useless as always. Do not have the killing power to remove the crawlers, nor the doggos, nor anything else. And superior wasp tags means he wins all the air mirrors anyway. So 1k for the opponent left. Lightning Storm is a very good tempo round against Wasp. Keeps leveling the hounds, interesting. I mean, at this point, why not, right? Has them double tagged. Steel balls still being OP. Decent missile to slow down the steel ball, but on the other hand, I mean, they're going to the crawlers anyway. Opponent chooses to match the air upgrades. In that case, I don't really get the cell down here. I thought he was out of Wasp. Here we see Ignite working, by the way. However, as you can see, it doesn't do anything to stop the push pretty much. I'm not sure what the Ignite was supposed to accomplish here. So last round is another unit drop. We're missing factory here, fortress. Yep, there's the fortress. but it's gonna be more Rhino action, okay? Yeah, Wasp are now fully capable of carrying. Got 3+ levels on all of them. Opponent goes for the triple tech, and then a very, very expensive triple tech. However, it's 90 range versus 125. And he does not click the enhanced range, neither does he lone. That's a big, big mistake right there. I think he's dead disregarders. He doesn't stop the worm going anywhere. That's it. Because just the wasp alone will kill him outright here. Okay. Very interesting play here. I like this. This is a proper little steel ball push. Alright, next up we got Sparty. Oh, looks like my music is back up. Ah, never mind, it's still slow. Okay. Sparty also got a ball opener. Apucci going for the aerial spec, okay. Apucci going for the turn 1 cheese. So round 1 to him. Good amount of damage too. Oh, nice. Double Fang deploy and Typhoon for Sparty, okay. So Sparty going pretty much on the line with the chaff clear and the big guns. And Apucci just brings out another chaff unit and then another Arclight for the flanking here. And another crawler, okay. So he's covering pretty much the outer part here, even though Sparty didn't do anything to do any pressure on the side whatsoever. I'm not quite sure if the Phoenixes will actually get targeted by the Typhoon here. Because the Typhoons do not clear sledges very well, and neither does the Saber. Doesn't have the amount of tech speed, so that's another round to the Phoenix drop from turn 1. Okay, improved factory is on Apucci's side, okay. Improved firepower means he wants to drop a Mustang immediately. Makes sense into Phoenix. And Apucci drops some more Phoenixes here. Defending this flank from arc lights. Phoenix drops and does well into Saber Teeth. Missile here, okay. The cheeky tempo play here from Sparty. That Arclight didn't do anything this turn, will only do something if he deploys another chaff unit. Phoenixes do not perform very well this turn. Because there's additional chaff and there's also the Mustang. So decent round for Sparty, but Apucci is still at 5k, so he's very, very high up there. More Mustang items and shield for the sledges. That's actually very annoying because none of these units do like killing Sledges, and a shield is pretty much a free level up and a burst protection for Saberteeth overkill damage, because he would one-shot this Sledgehammer if it was just double HP. Okay. Rhino comes straight into the flank. Very, very slow plays here. Arclights are now ranged and help clear this area a little bit, but there's still Arclight getting stuck on that Saber. Not quite enough DPS there. Rhino finally is at the tower, but it was very, very late. Attack and shield and intense. Okay. Goes for a little side cheese here. Not sure how good that is into Phoenixes. Launcher overload Phoenix, Very interesting. So the Rhino is out. No more flankage there. So this Phoenix is not a great deploy here, but I mean it's decent. So I believe this is gonna go down, right? It does, okay, but at least it protects these units for this turn. And then the Typhoon can finish off this flank entirely. That's looking a little bit shaky for Apuchi here, I would say. Mustang is doing Mustang things. Arclights can't compete. And Phoenixes do like shooting crawlers. This game is called Mechabellum, Mall 21. Lightning Storm. Oh, Lightning Storm and Orbiter, so big AoE spells this time. I would say favoring the Phoenix player here a little bit. Factory time. Okay, so it's gonna be a big factory, improved factory actually in the corner here. Very fun stuff. So improved factory is a very big deal because it's 40% more HP, 15 more attack, which is meh, but range 10, very nice, and attack interval 0.2 down. So it's now attacking tiny bit faster, but it is also very, very expensive. In fact, this factory is going to be extremely expensive because it has a upkeep of 200 per round and it costs 1k just to drop that bad boy. So 200 extra to bring that out. But it is doing its job here. It's protecting the tower. Killing all the units. Doesn't get killed by Mustangs very easily. This delay here is really nice. I hope the Phoenix can take the shield. It can. Last shot it does actually knock down 2 shields here. That's nice. That's minus 200 value right there. Ooh, even more HP if he wants to. It's a bug. Okay. Have to restart the round. Okay, so level up for the factory is possible. Ooh, big steel bolts here. Steel bolts with this item extremely tanky. Actually unkillable for the majority of things, especially this one. Fortress Mustang on the menu for Sparty here. However, War Factory is now ranged. Probably gonna get temper range as well, so this thing has humongous range and barely has to go anywhere. No heavy target lock. That would be one of the situations where heavy target lock would be actually nice. But Apucci is not a believer. And neither am I, so... Not sure what the steelbots are supposed to do here. I think they needed range this turn in order to reach the factory, but Improved War Factory does deal with these kind of steel balls. Ooh, very nice rocket punch from the fortress here. And Improved War Factory does it. Very interesting. So sub 500 for Spadi. Ooh, big beam. And we got oil coming up this turn for Apucci as well. So big turn here in terms of spells. Anti-air tech for the fortresses, so he's trying to knock down these phoenixes here, who are still dealing the main amount of damage here, but there's gonna be more factories this time. Missiles here to take care of the chaff line. And since those are improved, they have a lot of HP. So the rocket punch doesn't even deal enough damage to the factory. Look at that, 2 instant locks on the fortresses. Little acid play here from the opponent. At the moment, the acid is mainly hurting him, to be honest, and not Apucci. So maybe not the greatest idea, but you know, maybe. Alright, so War Factory, look at that. Humongous amount of damage. Finishes the game in 2 turns, which is pretty much what you have to do because you are down a lot of supply in that factory. But this one, in combination with the missiles, turned down both of these forts on the side. And actually the most damaging unit was this fort because the rocket punch flew straight into the factory twice. And that's not a great thing if you most of your damage comes from your units dying. And yeah, the crawler, I mean, crawler acid does not really work out unless you only have crawlers at the front and your opponent is also at the front. So the acid never connected to the factory in this case. Alright, very nice. So Improved War Factory eking out a win there. Even with the instantaneous counter with the steel balls. Which technically could have countered the factory, but he chose never to tech them or do pretty much anything with them. And vanilla balls do not beat a factory. They need some sort of improvements. Okay, we have another ball game, this time with hounds. And training. Does train a dog? I like that, I like that. Very good training spec use because upgrading a hound is only 50 and the training spec gives you exactly 50 supplies, so you can train the hound in the first round. And usually you would like to range the hounds on turn 3 or 4. So until then you have a guaranteed 2 dogs with XP. I like that. Very good into crawlers. Steel ball on one side. Doggos in the mix pretty much. Very weird deployment from Sapman because he's very, very upfront with the fangs, but his sledges are pretty much trying to defend the tower from a ball push. Not sure if I quite like this. Very vulnerable to Stormcaller play and whatnot. Also very bad against hot dogs, but you could see that he does not have hot dogs on the very first turn, so I guess that's not a concern for him. But yeah, nothing to stop the steel balls and just too much power on that side. Firepower for Apuchi, skip for Subman, okay. Does not want the item here. I'm not sure if this is correct. The item is 70% more damage. That's really relevant when you're fighting dogs and steel balls, by the way. I expected scorpions in this game, to be honest. I'm not sure about the phoenixes. So phoenixes have very high damage, but it's not enough to one-shot a steel ball. And they do not fire very quickly. And they die very easily to marksman as well. Okay, so the push is still going fine here. Phoenixes did kill some steel balls, but as you can see, 3 balls dying is not the end of the world. You will gladly take that. And another thing steel balls can do is take down this tower rather quickly. So the debuff is still active when you get over here. But yeah, it's just one Copier marksman, so no more anti-air. And that's a loss for Apuchi on round 3, although a very, very small one. Melta straight to the front. Probably multi-melta here, because none of these targets are something that the Melta wants to fight. And Apuchi opts for the Phantom Ray since he needs anti-air anyway. Might as well. And another marksman here, this time with the training module. Naked melting points, okay. So opponent being a little confused here. The thing is, the melting point does fine with energy diffraction. Does very well into Phantom Ray as well, actually. However, it's still weak to other forms of melting points. Any EMP effect pretty much. And the worst thing is he didn't click it this turn, so he's losing a lot of tempo. And that as giant spec, by the way. He does not make it. Okay, so good round for Apuchi here. 1k damage dealt. Sub steel balls. Okay, so Apuchi is going for the multi-steel ball deployments. So what you want usually is mechanical division. When you're going subsidized steel balls, because subsidized steel balls do take a lot of deployments and money, but they multiply that by the amount of cores you get, which is nice. But he doesn't do it for this turn, he just presses the speed button, going a little bit faster, and he's still not in multi-melter, just normal melter for now. Interesting. Shields doing good here. However, steel balls do break those shields pretty easily. But they're still unupgraded and whatnot, so... The Melter army does actually make it. At a price, to be fair. Okay. So this turn, no orbital bombardment for either. It was blindly versus Mustang. There's the multi-melter. Interesting that he goes for the Wasp here. The issue was not so much the Wasps themselves, but they got offered in the same round as a Blue Mustang. And if you're looking at Apuchi's board, he does have 2 Marksmen and 2 Fangs as anti-air. And then the Phantom Brace, which all don't like fighting Wasp at all. So now we go in with the steel ball energy absorption and also the sub steel ball deploys. And this is the point where you can see even Melta with energy diffraction on level 1 does not deal enough damage to kill the balls, especially not when they have energy absorption. Energy absorption means if the balls get to target the Melta, you lose. You lose because they will regenerate health straight up. Yep, and the Mustangs also deal with the Phoenix threat now. So very good steel ball push by Apuchi, and does not even have mech division nor range active, which is both stuff that the Melta has to counter with different techs. Okay, shield airdrop for Sapman. There's the mech division, so now we do have a lot of crawlers spawning. And Sapman realized that he has not enough targeting with the Meltas here to kill all of these steel balls. However, he's still very susceptible to getting EMP'd. And he does have to have some sort of chuff clear going here to get rid of the new spawned crawlers from these steel balls. Here we go. There's the steel ball action on the Melta now. You can see here this steel ball got locked by the Melta, but it does out-heal the damage with the energy absorption. Because Meltas do lose damage once they split their beams. Which means a steel ball has a way higher DPS than a Melta. While costing only 150, as you can see here. And the dog actually got the improved firepower control system. Interesting. Okay, so round 7 is another 1k damage. Ooh, Lightning Storm. Big spell here because the Wasp will get dragged over here. So will the Phoenixes, so this should kill the Chaff on this side. And we do have Fire Extinguisher preempting here that there's gonna be fire of some sort. Probably with the Fire Dogs. And he's trying to keep his dudes alive and also the crawler spawn from the balls active. More steel balls here. Good to delay, good to kill the tower. Double shield because he expects a lightning, which does come down this turn. Funny enough, the fire extinguisher only clears this fire if there is actually fire. They do not clear oil, and as such the dogs will still get absolutely stalled out here because the oil slows their movement speed into nothing. Also, the Melta does have a EMAC barrage now, so if the volley hits the front line, they will get slowed and lose all of their techs. So it could be a good reason to deploy some boats with photon coating, because the steel balls will arrive at the tower in time, and photon coating does prevent the entire EMP SD that Sapman has. Another option here would be to get EMP on Apuchi's side himself, because that will disable every tech that the Melta has, and at that point they are just a waste of supply and a waste of techs. Okay. Let's see what he goes for. Actually, even improved Overlord is chosen. Oh, look at that. Abyss coming in. So counter Titan. There is the Photon, I guess. Yeah, it is Photon, of course. This is the reason why the Steel Ball is superior to every kind of Melta play, unfortunately. And it's a Wreckage Recycling Vertical Sweep Abyss. So it's a super expensive upgrade that basically just means it's gonna shoot straight. I really, really, really dislike that pick. Because all of these Steel Balls will spawn crawlers, and those crawlers get the Abyss confused. And I'm gonna say, if I, as a spectator, can see this photon boat coming, you should also be able to smell that. And Overlord does deal quite well with the Abyss, because there is too much shove in front. So big boats, photon mission. Alright. I think this is a great game if you want to tell somebody why steel balls are very good units. Useful the entire game. Very, very tanky, requires specific answer that can be countered very easily by basically one unit. And absolute overcommitment into triple tech with the Melta here. That could have also been countered by EMP, which means he also needs overlords and so on and so forth. EMP only works if the unit that you're fighting is slow enough that the photon coating will run out before you actually take the fight. But the steel balls are so fast that that does not happen normally. Have to do something about that. Maybe a flank like he did, for example. Okay, do we go another training spec here? Fortified, tanky dogs. And even Typhoon spec, I think, is playable. It's gonna be the tanky dogs. Okay. So does prefer not to play steel balls here. So against Mr. Rain, I think it was my first opponent in the last week's tournament. Very interesting. Does go for the Omega Greed setup, which he also did in my game. Maybe something you can attribute to his character. No chaff at all. Now in terms of stats, Apuchi has 4k HP on the sledgehammers because of the fortified and basically 1k on the hounds. A marksman does not care about this stuff. He will kill a hound in one shot and he will kill a sledge in 2 shots for now. That's a big upside. However, Stormcallers and Arclights do not like this kind of stats. A Arclight deals almost 1050 damage, but it's just almost. And the dog actually gets to have a defense upgrade or anything pretty much, and then the Arclight can't kill that in 3 shots, which is horrible. That takes way too long to kill them. Stormcallers not so much. They will almost one-shot dogs. So if they are damaged by anything, especially an Arclight, they will still kill that. However, they do not like if the dogs are moving faster, which is an option that he can pick. As you can see, just superior stats all over the board. Base also shows a very, very low HP one. So he's very behind on that one as well. Right, I think it's a must Farseer here. There is. Best unit on round 2. Very good unit when there's no chaff on the board, too. Okay, inner crawler here to split them between the Arclights and the Stormcrawlers. Very interesting. And a cheeky little missile here to prevent a Wasp drop from coming in, because the Farseer was holding down the other side. Alright, so the Farseers are mirrored, which means the Farseer will dominate either side, and then they will meet for the showdown in the middle. Crossfire showdowns, always preferable if you have Stormcaller Marksman. So if you can force that, that's always a good thing to have, because you can use your superior range. However, the tower debuff means that he still loses half of its board before he engages with the Farseer. But yeah, pretty much expected outcome, I would say. Heavy armor is the pick. Very good on the sledges, because they're already pretty tanky, and heavy armor scales off that. The doggos get their range, and they also get a +1 upgrade, so they can one-shot the crawlers. And he's choosing to go for a +1 attack in case he does hit the defense enhancement, which is really, really good in this case. And other than that, it's just a little bit more DPS to make up for the 17% difference. But now the doggos will start shooting much earlier. And once they have range and mech rage, Stormcaller does not answer those anymore. And as you can see here, the Stormcrawlers are hard carrying this game for Rain, because he does not have anything here in terms of DPS as soon as there is a missile interceptor dropped here. So very risky play here, which he can counter his board pretty easily for now. But it's big Rhino time, so his spec finally comes online. Upgrades for Apuchi. Oh, Farseer play actually, so he's going for tempo Farseer play here. And speed. As I said, this unit composition does not enjoy speed. Just one problem here. Apuchi did not shield, so he's gonna lose all his chaff. And there is no answer for the big Rhino boy. The Farseer can try to kill that, but he's too slow. Pretty much. And this Farseer is not gonna do anything for this turn, because it's just gonna sit here shooting at chaff, because all the chaff clear died. And Farseers are kind of chaff clear, kind of not. They are doing fine against chaff, but they're not good at it. Yeah. Nevertheless, the Farseer is obviously dealing a lot of damage here, so Apuchi does save some HP. But I would say in terms of HP, they're pretty much identical here. Big burps in the sky. I like that. Big burps do perform very well against Rhino. And on this board, there's not really that much that requires a big Phoenix. Maybe the Farseer, but only if the chaff clear is one. If you lose the chaff clear, you lose the game. So both of them in ranged Phoenix now, since they're both waiting pretty much for stuff to happen here. Apuchi is still going for the speed button, and this time it should be more powerful because there is no fire. But speaking of fire, Rain does have the sticky oil bomb in his back pocket if he wants to. And here we can see the difference. The Phoenix does immediately connect to the Rhino when it shows up, because the Hounds do chaff clear, And on this side, the big Phoenix doesn't do anything because it's still shooting at sledges and hounds and all the targets that it doesn't want to hit. And now it's gonna feed a humongous amount of HP to the right flank. This Phoenix also gets taken down by the Farseer because there was some late fangs coming in. And the doggos did die before everything was over. Ooh, tower debuff. That's a dead Farseer. Does barely take down the tower. Will he make it? Looks like a yes. One shot. Yep. But then the Phoenix goes down. So very small round for Apucci. Laser sights, great option here. Because we have those Giga Phoenixes that have to stay in the back. Otherwise they get assassinated by Farseers and Fangs. And there is the Mech Rage. So now the hounds are extra fast. And there is crawlers on the flanks. Crawlers in the back. And hopefully the Arclights will have died by then, since there is only 5 of them on the board. There is a little bit of chaff clear deficit, but now he finds the oil button on round 6, which is a little bit late. And will attempt to stall out the right side here. So this game is all about the chaff clear now, because the Phoenixes will take care of anything. Phoenix is one of the best single target DPS here. Huge range. And that looks like it's pretty even for now in terms of chaff clear. But the big Farseer does actually manage to lock onto the big Phoenix here. On the other side we also trade blows. Level ups for both the Giga Phoenixes, so extremely highly leveled. Fire extinguisher preemptively played yet again because there's oil on the ground. And elite marksman on the Phoenixes, so now they have a lot of range and a lot of damage. Will actually one-shot the Farseer if they ever touch it. Late doggos here in case there's more stuff coming from the side here. Rain preempting a oil drop. Rocket was a good idea, but he did pull out the shielded fangs. So now we have a lot of fangs here to contend with. His hope being that the fangs will actually prevent the hounds from making it in. Which looks like it doesn't work. There's still some dogs left here when the Phoenixes attack him. And there's no more fangs left. He's missing a last fang line pretty much. And as such, the elite marksman Phoenixes with 185 range have enough range to even outrange the big Phoenix. Problem with Phoenix carry, still very, very little damage. Offensive tactics for the enemy here. Not sure if more damage is his problem. There should be fangs back here. But he gets baited by Arclights instead, okay? He's pretty much trying to answer the dog threat now. Massive amount of hound deploys here to cover the entire map in anti-fire. Okay. Phoenixes got both upgraded here, which is a big deal because they get to scale in terms of range and damage. Right, so fire removal doggies are trying their best. They're not really succeeding that much at the moment because the range where they clear the fire is pretty low. So a bunch of these crawlers are still dying to the fire, but the dogs themselves stay clear of the fire, which is good. So they are acting as the chaff, pretty much. Also a very interesting fire placement from Apuchi there in the back field, pretty much. Giga Phoenix here is still uncontested, so I think that is another one for Apuchi here. And another tiny bit of damage. Alright, unit drops. Now where comes the interesting part. No, they will keep playing their own struts. Very impressive that the dogs can actually compete with Shielded Fangs. But as I said, we are missing some Fangs in the back. And here comes the hidden, forbidden tech. The reason why they do this is both of these Phoenixes are very, very easy, let's say, to kill with units that have more than 5 in one squad, which aka not hounds. So you can deploy wasp, crawler, tech crawler, speeded crawlers, whatnot to block them out. But here we have a difference. There is a HE Mustang to counter the fangs, and then he also drops shielded wasp in the same comp. And that is a little bit questionable because the Mustangs can take care of both. No problem. That's actually exactly what they are good at. So the Wasp will tank against the Phoenixes. But he deployed all of them on this side. And since this Phoenix has the laser sight, the Phoenix will never die to this kind of stuff. It's way too far in the back. So Rain loses this even with his Arclight carry approach. Ooh, and bombardment straight up the next turn. That's really bad for the Wasp player because Wasp are not shieldable. They have their personal shield, but you can't shield them from above. And without shields, these Wasps are pretty much useless. Rain is going heavy Vulcan power because he expects more Mustangs here, which he is not wrong about. They are being elite recruited as we speak. But I believe he's not gonna make a comeback from this. And there's the missile interceptor that I was calling out some years ago. Because that Stormcaller is still doing pretty much heavy lifting. Okay, the fire prevention doggy squad is still on the move. Also prevented the incendiary Vulcan cheese, by the way. And as we can see, high-leveled Phoenixes munch Vulcans in seconds. So if you have enough chaff clear to reach the Vulcan, its tankiness is not an upside. The doggies perform way better because they have more models. And that's it. Alright, so I think this was clearly down to the dog being the superior choice to the Arclight here. And also to the blind Mustang HE into Wasp. Very efficient chaff here. If you look at Pucci's side, he basically does have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so the normal crawlers, 2 side crawlers, and 0 fangs that are coming in later. There's just some fangs at the front to prevent missile cheese and incendiary rockets and whatnot. But all other than that, very little. Whereas Rain went for the Shielded Fang approach. Although I'm gonna argue he's missing 2 more fangs here if he really wanted to play the long range game earlier with the Phoenixes, but I don't think it would have made a difference because the Phoenix party still was starting without him here. Alright. AWM also performed very well here. Destroyed a lot of people. And now we can take a look at the mini tournament. Believe does win out here, okay? Ooh, look at that. Very good lineup here. So I believe also crushed the last tournament, or was it I think it was the last midweek tournament as well. But I'm very interested to see what he plays now, if he still is on the doggy train. He was also a tarantula enjoyer, as far as I remember. And Wood, obviously being Wood, plays the normal stuff that he always does. This time with a sledgehammer opening, quick supply. Yep, Believe is still a doggy believer. Makes sense here because the only nerf to the doggies was on the XP rate, and if you're elite, your XP is pretty much irrelevant. And here they are. He's fully expecting a push from Wood at the close to the line, not at the line, but close to the line. Typhoons, bolts, phoenixes, redeployment, the usual stuff that he always does. Yep, Doggy's performing straight up better in the fight because he has more stats, being elite. Which means he starts with more resources and has a current buff active that costs 100. Look at that, there's the Typhoons. Typhoons for everybody. There's the Phoenixes. A cheeky little crawler doggy flank coming in here from Belief. I like that. Also a very enjoyable play for Elite because you are incapable of dropping anything other than that when you are expending money on turn 2. I think that's the most efficient way to actually do this. But the Phoenix does make it. And as I said, Wood is running the jump drive, so he will try to cheese out a tower at some point. Also switch to armor enhancement on the arc lights. Interesting. Underground threat, still nerfed, still worth picking. Straight up elite recruited a Typhoon to the front line. Interesting. So Wood trying to make a his best elite spec impression. Does barely hold this flank with the 1 HP arc light here. And the level 2 Typhoon here was a good tempo play as well. Stopping that frontline battle here right in its tracks. That's a good amount of XP as well and some damage. So Belief is still at a very high HP total, so don't get me wrong, he's still in it to win it. Turn 4, Super Supply Enhancement is the best turn to pick it. And Belief still runs out the range upgrade on the Doggos. Some chuff in the back here, okay. Pull over the Phoenixes, and he does sell out of the Typhoon. Okay, so he was only pretending to be a Typhoon believer, which is understandable because he has Hounds, and you don't need Hounds and Typhoons in the same comp, pretty much. And Belief cheeses him out with a single Phoenix drop right in the front here, taking out that tower. Because the Phoenix base damage is 6k, so he does 12k per shot, and 12k times 2 means the tower dies within 6 seconds. And that is a easy peasy tempo round to believe, with a lot more damage this time. Ooh, deployment module even. Very, very good one. Worst case scenario for Wood, because the Typhoon jumps over here, but the Phoenix can also be repositioned. So Wood is gonna try to push this flank now and try to brute force his way up here. Because this flank here got stalled out by the Crawler and the Hound drop. As you can see, the Hound drop does outperform the Arclight here. Especially now that they have Mech Rage, so this flank is dead. The Chaff on the flank is also dead. Wood is just straight up trying to switch sides. The problem is he spends another 100, so he's still 200 down in terms of supply, which Belief didn't have to spend because he is elite spec. So he's getting a lot of value out of his spec here. It's worth mentioning here that Belief does run the hot dog, has no armor on these dogs. On the other hand, Typhoons do have Mech Rage, so at this point the armor wouldn't probably do enough. But as we can see, the redeployed Phoenix is still alive, still kicking. Does level to 3, which is very important in these kind of matchups. Will this Typhoon level? That's the question. Probably will when he touches the tower. And it does. Okay, that's a very powerful unit there. Phantom Race does have the armor enhancement if he wants to, so he can try and cheese out a turn here. However, the armor does not counter the Typhoons at max any. He does not run burst mode. So now there's a little problem happening here. Wood doesn't have much chuff on this side, since this side used to be naked. But he still chooses to deploy more on that side. Also drops a missile here in case his tower gets cheesed yet again. Not sure if the missile would actually prevent that, because if there's a Phoenix dropped here and he does take range, he will probably get it still, but you know. Or you just do the cast move and just beacon that straight through the middle. That would also work. Crawlers would direct here, and Steelboy could go right through here, or Phoenix, or whatever you want to. So his towers are a little bit exposed. Yeah, now the big Phoenix is doing big work here, because Phoenixes do perform quite well against Typhoons, since they're a good shield breaker unit, and the Typhoons do clear slower than the Hounds here. Hound range is 110. Typhoon range is 100 here. No enhanced range on either side. And doggies have a little bit more. Ooh, look at that missile though. High value missile there. Stalling out the Phoenix. And that's a round to Wood. Another deployment and deployment, my goodness. All the redeployments. This is gonna be a wild game. So now all of the Typhoons jump back to the other side. Phantom Rays also jump into the flank, because why not? There was also a Typhoon deployed back here to deal with the shenanigans, which is a good answer, I think. The level 2 Typhoons with Mech Rage do very well. And I think the Mech Rage I really like here, because there is an imminent armor play coming in here that would destroy you. So I think this is a good preemptive click to not just die outright. Remember, Elite can now Elite recruit, so he can actually get level 3 sledges with armor enhancement or something like that, and the Typhoons wouldn't do anything to that, pretty much. Even the level 2 Typhoon with Mech Rage now barely does anything to them. Same for Phantom Rays or whatever you want to call here. Okay, double shot Scorpion is the play here. Very good against Typhoons because you can burst their bubbles, which is why you deploy them like this and not horizontally. However, it's a double shot Scorpion without range, so they're pretty much only delivering one shot and that's it. And the reason why this was happening is just because the redeployment dragged everything over to this side. So the Scorpion here is a little bit lonely, it doesn't have any Typhoons to kill, whereas this one is getting overrun by just sheer amount of Typhoons. And this switcheroo can happen next turn again, taking all these Phoenixes, dragging them over here, redeploy the Typhoons, and so on. So this game is only winnable for Wood if he pulls off a humongous cheese turn. Let's see it. Rhino Assault. Roomba Storm coming in here with the Rhino. Triple Tech Typhoon, very, very expensive. Homing missile. Scorpion is trying to back up a little bit because it's gonna get killed pretty fast by those Phoenixes. Little oil drop here. More crawlers in front. Trying to protect the bubbles from getting one hit. Very open flank here, to be honest. Open to Phoenix shenanigans. Yeah, these towers I think are now safer because you can't beacon around that. And this one is level 3. Okay. So range Scorpions now, but still no upgrades on the tower here. Interesting. So Believe is not a tower upgrade believer. I'm not sure if he can hold this, to be honest. Because Mech Range Typhoons are really, really fast. Just as fast as a crawler with the temp speed buff. Yeah. Tower's going down, but it's a very short debuff timer because of the level 3. Does make it though, and there's not enough chaff clear here in the back, so the Phoenixes will get sniped. And so does his. Okay. So we got a game on our hands, because Wood does win this barely with the Phoenix. $2.7k for Belief, so still a lot of HP to get through. Ooh, EMAG. EMAG is really powerful here. Okay. So Belief, this is great. Belief saw this and thought the exact same thing as I did. Wood can only win with cheese. Redeployment is available. EMAG is extremely powerful against these bubble kind of compositions because you get ultra value out of killing those. And he's also a annoying Phoenix jump drive enjoyer. So he's preempting that there's gonna be some dudes over here and will try to push his tower. Makes sense because he dropped the oil last turn. And it's a good play to dodge the spell. So big brain move right there. Wood only getting the bubble value and the phoenixes, I guess. This is why Sai is very weak now, because these crows will all die for free. And finally we got some phoenix range going. Excellent hit here. All the phoenixes get hit, the bubble gets hit. So he does get the big typhoon down here, but not quite enough. The electromech hit also does something else. It slows down the phoenix speed. The jump drive is extremely fast moving speed normally, like 24 meters per second. That's extremely quickly. So it delayed the phoenixes a little bit. One phoenix left to hold them all. But he does go down in time. Alright, so Wood is still in the game. Dodge the oil here. Is there gonna be another spell? Because the more spells there are, the worse this gets. It's a unit drop on round 10. Interesting. It is Steel Balls versus Mustangs. Okay. So ranged Mustangs on this side. Trying to finish off that Phoenix. Okay, redeploying Phoenixes back to this side. There's the little cheeky side Phoenix that we mentioned like years ago. I wonder why Wood is not playing at this. I mean, the Phoenix should go forward. I don't think you don't have the options here. Okay, so now we have Wasp with range versus Mustang, which is something that the Wasp usually does not enjoy. But there's not much between Wood here and the tower, and this is a giga blob of units pretty much. The problem with this upgrade is the first homing missile is pretty much useless because it's only gonna hit crawlers. And we have to see if if they can survive 9 seconds to get value of that tech. As a front and a second line of Scorpions now. One to pop the bubble and one to deal the damage later. Scorpions also kill steel balls, not very fast, but they do. Nice. And he does take the tower as we predicted here. But is it gonna be enough? Because the majority of phoenixes and whatnot is this time over here. He does lose that tower. Was level 2 enhanced, so the debuff is pretty much at the same time. But now we are in a long range fight with Scorpions and with additional Phoenix support. Very, very close, look at that. But there is one Scorpion left, I believe that should be enough. Yep. And the backdoor Phoenix here actually made it through. Okay, very interesting game. I guess this time the deployment with the Phoenix would have covered this flank, right? Or would it? want to see, what turn was that? I think turn 9 was the turn where I was trying to do that, right? Not sure what Wu does here. Oh yeah, he makes the switcheroo. And then on round 10, Belief does actually switch this. I want to see if the Phoenix does turn here. So he picked the steel balls. It's pretty hard to replicate this. Can't go Link here. Try to remember what he did. So he's walking back with the dudes here. Drop that Phoenix in here. Yeah, this is a little bit tricky to play because I don't remember exactly what he did. Guess we oil this. What else did he do? Yeah, I'm not sure about it. I guess we should have enhanced the tower. But I'm just looking here for the Phoenix thing. Oh, actually one Phoenix does turn, the other one does not. Interesting. Yeah, but he would shoot at the other Phoenix here because they would stay here. So I guess we had the play the turn before, and this turn Belief actually covered this flank with the redeployment. Okay, very interesting game one. Hello, Lena. Welcome to the stream. I believe goes for an amplifying steel ball. Oh, he's a true steel ball believer, I guess. He might go for the Typhoon here. He does not. He believes in the Fang Sledge. Okay. So he's a 201 player, but he's not the kind of hound enjoyer that the other players are. Wow. Mustang. So I guess he wants to do a amplifying core Mustang army. I see a bunch of people picking the Mustangs as an opener if they are in combination with the amplifying spec. So I guess that's what he's going for. Okay, does win round one. Ooh, actually a level on the steel balls, very nice, and improve firepower as well. So now he's getting a little bit overloaded with items. That's the downside of amplifying spec. Okay, additional crawler here to prevent that tower from going down. Corner dock. Backdooring that tower if he doesn't do anything about it, because opponent deployed everything in the front. And opponent also has sledge carries as his option. and does put the improved firepower on the sledges. So I believe he's actually gonna go for it. And lucky for him, he does not run the debuff upgrade. So let's see if he can actually make it work. Sledges historically pretty good against steel balls as well, but that is only when you deploy them in a defensive formation, which he did not. Okay, so round 3 goes to Believe as well. Still sitting on those items, another one. Okay, does prioritize the redeployment, which I get because he already has so many items. And he still needs his crawler here to protect those. Hot dogs is the answer for Mr. 201. Probably expects more Mustangs to be dropped because of the item and the unlock. Another side crawler here. Now this hot dog play is a good one for one turn, but missile interception comes online. These doggies will die to the Mustangs quite quickly. Okay, Mustangs do not get wrecked by that because they Hounds took the Crawlers took the main brunt damage. And then the steel bolts get in here and one tap that tower. Sledges are not capable of doing anything because they don't have the required upgrades, and neither do they have the levels. Okay, Scorpions the drop. So Scorpion very good here for both sides, I would say. Very good into steel ball and very good into sledge. Although I would favor Belief here a little bit because the Scorpion I think is more required for multiple units here than just for 2 steel balls that keep redeploying. So you cannot be quite sure where the actual steel ball is going to be next turn. Belief is playing with open flanks here. So there could be airdrops coming in here. He does redeploy that dog to force out a unit deploy here and then takes it to the other side. More Mustangs. This sledge unit here is going to be quite annoying for the steel bolts, but he does actually split them quite nicely with that Hound deploy as well, so could be another angle to get another ball unit straight in here. But for this turn, the Scorpion will dominate that side because it's just too high leveled. And so does the Scorpion on that side. Yep, the Mustangs do keep leveling though. And a good chunk for Belief even this round. Super Supply round 5 is a typical play for 201s. They will always pick that no matter when it arrives, even on turn 6 for some reason. Yep, we have another redeployed cheese, this time into the corner. Good play because there's barely anything left here. And he is also redeploying, but he's always a step behind here. Yeah, I like this Phoenix play here because it prevents the flank from collapsing. Although this is a little bit greedy. But Red does not seem to be interested into stopping tempo at all. He's just playing all for the later board. Does now have range on those sledges, which still doesn't make them fire any faster, so it's still the same DPS. But now his front door is wide open because the steel ball dragged all of these units to the side. Can he take the tower? He cannot. But no anti-air on this side, so the phoenixes will kill them. And the scorpions spend a lot of time walking back and forth, buying him some tempo. Alright. Fortress, Rhino. Rhino for both. Rhino into the flank. Steel ball gets redeployed a little bit, probably afraid of the rocket here. So instead there's gonna be a crawler here, trying to eat that missile. Redeployment works differently than other ones. If you are in the flank, you can redeploy freely. You do not have to warp in again, so the steel ball will take that tower if left to its own devices. And the front units will probably die rather quickly because the rhinos are very, very tanky when you only have a scorpion without range. So he's trying to drag this to the side and then run in with the rhino pretty much. So it's a rinse and repeat of last flank with more unit support. So that's some oilage coming down, but not yet any fire hitting the oil field. Level 3 Scorpion got assassinated. And there's the tower down with the Mustangs stopping the Giga Rhino. So Scorpion Mustang looking pretty strong here. Almost enough, but just below 500. Smoke bomb. Okay, so a fire extinguisher preemptive play to stop that oil field from burning and killing all the Mustangs. Not really sure about that bubble. I was gonna say it needs crawlers in front, otherwise the bubble is worthless here. So the smokes will both land. Not sure who is favored here in terms of smoke, but there is an oil play here in the side that could enable those steel balls to get to the tower, but I think they are just a little bit too slow. Actually, does he split the shot? He does, alright. So one last heroic steel ball does actually barely take the tower. Oh, that is so unfortunate for red. Almost offed himself on the fire as well. Alright, and Belief takes the win. So next game up versus Rooster. Belief, I think, was also a elite enjoyer as far as I remember. But we have that Juicy Hound Sledge pack, yeah, and he cannot not play that. What is Rooster gonna play? I mean, he's not really a standard player, maybe supply spec, I guess. Amplifier looks good, but it's an amplifier spec still. No, he's gonna go for the standard. Okay, okay. Right, also has the Rhino unlocked at the very first turn, just like the Farseer is unlocked. And Belief goes for the same procedure as last time. Now this game a little bit harder because he does not have the 15% additional HP versus the Stormcaller. But he's gonna get another good unit that can deal with Stormcallers very well, if he wishes to do so on turn 2. Really not sure why this sledge went vertical here, to be honest. Does still win out because Rooster did not deploy asymmetrically, so big advantage on that flank. Pretty much exactly even there. Here comes the Phoenix. Very greedy on the flank deployment here. So Belief sees this and is trying to snap pick that tower, because the crawlers will drag those fangs away, and the phoenixes will get to connect on arclights and towers. That's best case scenario for any bird. That does not quite get the tower, but now he does. I think it's a little bit of a misjudgment by Rooster here. I think the way he deploys is tells me that he thinks Belief plays differently than he usually does. Because this is all, I would say, expected play from Belief for now. Ooh, Sandworm Wasp double drop and a Scorpion. So Rooster takes the Scorpion to take out those meaty units. And also opts into a Vulcan here. Does not deal with the crawler problem in his bank. And neither does he with the Phoenix. Alright, so now Belief shows his cards and shows us that the Hound is his preferred chaff clearing unit. Does very well into these fangs. Fangs have no protection, they are very much forward. These fangs will move to the side, so this tower is dead. The Scorpion will keep shooting at the sledgehammers for now, but as soon as there's crawler support here, that's gonna be pretty nasty. Next turn we got the Rhino versus Farseer setup as well. So the more units you have in the air right now, the more interesting the Farseer gets for him next turn. Very nice play here with the flank dogs. Now the Scorpion does get to fire at the preferred targets, but it doesn't matter because the amount of units deployed was just superior and the Scorpion does not have the fire rate to deal with all of that. Not sure what is up with the Vulcan, to be honest. So we have giant manufacturing versus efficient light manufacturing. Interesting. Fortress transition for Rooster. He's playing like a giant spec pretty much. Anti-air as a cheap answer for both the Phoenixes and the Wasp. Another cost-efficient flank here, so even more of the chaff is wandering off. So Rooster is playing with triple fangs in the middle pretty much and nothing else. -1, so it's actually only 2 groups of fangs. And that is just not enough for an entire giant line. It's gonna work out, I think, okay this turn because Belief does not have the perfect units for DPS here, but the aerial hits were not that great, to be honest. And his Rhino is AFK in the corner here, trying to deal with that little crawler hound nest, which is not worth as much money as the Rhino is, obviously. That's a big tempo loss there again for Rooster by dropping those giants. Okay, EMEC, orbital laser sights. That looks like a fake to me. Let's check again. There is unit drops. Ooh, melting point for free. It's not what you want to see when you are trying to play like a giant spec. Belief is a non-melting point believer. He believes in the balls. Okay. Balls with range. Very ballsy play. Rooster does have the required tax on the Vulcan, and he does not run armor on these steel balls. So he believes the Vulcan will not get any tax or anything like that. Even when he's running the Hounds and no armor. Interesting. His prediction is, however, correct here. And that is very bad for Rooster, because the steel balls will get to feast on the Vulcan. He does run energy absorption, so he can out-heal the Vulcan if he gets to scale, and it looks like the steel ball attack is working. A very interesting play from him also, because the steel ball was not in the drop, so Rooster does not expect a steel ball here necessarily. Does not run Fang Spawn even. Oh. That means his chaff situation is not getting better anytime soon. So no oil. Does take the nuke at home for some tempo. There's the Scourge on the Vulcans. And a double elite recruited Vulcan as well. Got the steel ball leveled, so now they are very dangerous. Hounds will be chaff killing a little bit faster. The Rhinos also got tech to deal with those corner problems a little bit faster. Not sure what this crawler is trying to achieve, but that's fine. Only one advanced missile, right? True. And he does actually put down a crawler just in that turn. Wow. Very good prediction there. I think very necessary too, because we need to protect those steel balls. They are your best unit in this entire game, and he does not think that Rooster will click the Scorching Fire here. Interesting. I was mentioning energy absorption exactly because of that reason. But I'm afraid that this oil landing, energy absorption elite recruit, will finish Rooster off next turn. And even this turn doesn't look like such a great one because he's bleeding a lot of possible points here. Yeah, now the Phoenix dies, but now the Rhino is also dead. So we have two giants, let's say, I don't know, maybe 1k damage, not much. Yeah, almost 1k. Okay, heavy armor, good for the giants, good for the balls. It's Rhino time. Rhino with armor, I assume? Yeah, he does have armor. So Believe is not a armor believer for the balls, but he does actually take the rhinos. Missile interceptor here is pretty high value because it can keep away those advanced missile devices, and also works a little bit against the anti-air barrage. Doesn't really counter that as per se, but will maybe keep those phoenixes alive a little bit longer. Rooster does go for the air cheese, but does get answered. And this side is covered by a wasp. And that looks like a GG to me, because that rhino is not gonna get killed by the Scorch Vulcan anytime soon. And the balls make it in. He did click the energy absorption button that he should have last turn. And the Steamboats can take out everything on this board because it's all ground based, it's very huge units, and the doggies are very capable of killing everything else on the ground. Yep. And since he's only at 1k, even just the Farseer Phoenix combo is 500 damage, so as long as something stays alive, he's in trouble. It looks like it's about 200. Yep. So barely loses here. Might have been able to outscale this because the rhinos obviously can get EMP'd and whatnot, but after selling out of that melting point, he simply did not have the required ticks. But as we could see earlier, steel balls still very, very powerful when photon coated and whatnot, so you still have answers even to the giant wall here. He also had heavy target lock, so he could have dealt with the rhino flanks with just one steel ball. But he went for the higher tempo play and just finished him off straight away. Alright, I like that. Very good hound play, I think. The hound flanks simply removing all options for Rooster to keep both towers. There's a quick supply hound here. Ooh. Interesting also for belief, if he believes in the Mustangs or he takes the marksman. Okay. So we have a Stormcaller set up here pretty much. Right, do we finally have music? We do. Fantastic. For some reason my music playlist was not capable of loading up within reasonable time. It did load, but it was taking very, very long. Right, so this time he gets counter pushed. Training spec versus marksman spec. Very powerful turn 1 with the Arclight. But the Arclight will also feed a lot of XP to the units that kill that. So it can be a two-edged sword. Nice laser sight. Goes straight into Mustangs because he saw that wasp. And here they are. Very weird deployment too. Naked tower on the side here, interesting. So very disrespectful play here, I would say. Frontline is gonna get absolutely annihilated here. And the orange man does deal with that big Arclight, no problem. And the wasp don't take the tower because they get wrecked by the dogs to the front. So that should mean the Mustangs can clean that up. There's some rogue wasp escaping to the tower, but they are exactly too late. Horrible tower timing there. Okay, Raiden side defense and also a little jump drive play here to the side. Does not make it even into the tower. My goodness. Front push does succeed with the Raiden. Opponent playing like a little area spec, but he does not have, in fact, anything that supports that, just as training. Okay. Jump drive attack from the next side. Trying to leverage that hound flank. And it does work. But does get backdoored by that Phoenix flank himself. Although that's gonna be inconsequential for this turn. So I think that's actually a good thing for Red here that this happened. Super supply always. So this time we have Mustang upgrades and actual anti-air force, because it seems like opponent is over-investing into those air units. And the Wasp are here just to keep down the flanks. And a cute little side play with the steel balls, but they still get stuck to those Mustangs. They do take the tower, but not with the steel balls, just the Raiden itself does take the tower easily. Very interesting Raiden play here, I like this. Very aggressive. Will get outscaled by the Mustangs in time, because they have the anti-air upgrade, which makes these Raidens rather squishy. Okay, he does actually just take the armor piercing instead. So it does overall just more damage, also does more damage to the Raidens obviously, but it's a better play versus Crawler and Steamboats. And his opponent skips out of the storm to take another super supply enhancement. Okay, that is some 201 gameplay right here. Not even believed in that one. And that's a humongous loss. Oh no. I believe the Raiden is not Not going to succeed here. And there's a factory coming in. A big one. Armor up. Straight into the chain. Okay. Yeah, that is... I like that play. Believed that the worm was the correct play for the opponent, which he's correct about, I think. And just dropped the factory just straight up and tried to prevent that sandworm from pushing his tower. Now he didn't really expect it in the middle here, but it doesn't matter. I mean, the factory still tanks all the damage that the Mustangs would take. The only reason why they're taking damage here is because of the chain. Very good upgrade, by the way. But it's not enough, just barely. Look at that. 161. Big fireplace, triple upgraded Mustangs now. Since opponent is fully committed to the Raiden. Which means everything Raiden that gets locked on by Mustangs does die immediately. What is up with that worm gameplay though? So he's beaconing the worms backwards? I disagree of that one, because the Mustangs will wreck the Raidens now. And the worms come in too late to actually tank anything. Sheet is holding, this is really important, because the tower is not falling. Look at that cute little Mustang here. Okay, it does take him out. So I'm gonna say he made full use of that 440,000 HP. I would say he used 490,000. Believe wins that tournament. Very nice. Let's see the second one real quick. Hyruchun. Not gonna go through the entire replay. Just a quick look at the end board. But what we can conclude already is Hound's still good. Still absolutely playable as a chef unit. Just not as good in terms of carry. Hot dogs always still an option. Okay, there's a brute force steel ball attack here. Sub steel balls, okay. Very, very weird board state, I have to say. Does not have range. Of all the upgrades, he does not have range. Does have armor though. Interesting. I wanna see that round quick. I wanna see if it's even close, because this is like a mixture of units. For some reason there's an overlord here and he does not have the required techs to play steel balls. And he does not have an EMP himself. I was gonna say, I would expect this to be close, but not that close. Yeah, I think Mojo could have won that. That board should win that, but he didn't have the right units in place. It was close though. Skipperoni. Oh, what a stomp here. Oh, it's the blue hair comp. Little Wraith cheesing going on. It seems to be a pretty aggressive push here. With Stormcallers in the mix. Some oil cheese going on as well. Okay. Interesting. Okay, very weird board state, to be honest. So classic Spider Scorpion gameplay against a bunch of medium-sized units. Sounds pretty good for the Scorpions. Fang shields for 3 units. Okay, this is some very, very questionable opponents. But it's a Wednesday tournament. You never know what you might get. Okay, look at that. He deployed all of his units in the exact same blob for an asset and didn't shield that. Wow. People really like picking advanced defensive tactics now. Interesting. So we have burst mode Phantom Rays actually. Phantom Rays, Scorpion, some back crawlers, zero zero fortification on that tower, should have died straight away. Okay, this is super silly. Actually, I actually want to play this round and just beat this guy. I think RB28 has a chance here to win that. Just for some reason chose to not attack that tower. Interesting. I want to see if this is even a game. Guess we take the beacon. Also, steel bolts way in the back here. For some reason, we have steel bolts kissing that typhoon here. Do we just Stormcaller this? I guess we can, right? We already have it unlocked. Not sure about the hounds here, but I will try and salvage the asset situation here. Do we armor up as well? I think we do. Right. So now hopefully our ass is not sitting in acid. We get a free tower debuff. We destroy this flank for free. Stormcaller might even kill that Arclight as well. It distracts the crawlers here, so our bolts hopefully can do something. Oh, untacked pretty much bolts, but that's fine. I don't remember how much HP he had. It was like 2k or something. Yeah, I don't think we kill him here outright, but we pretty much crush him for this turn. So this was easily winnable by RP28, even with a very, very suboptimal unit composition here. Okay. So I guess that tells you something about the quality of the second advanced group. But that's fine. All right. I'll be right back. We'll play my own games then. I'm not even sure what MMR this account is, to be honest. I think we are 1700s or something. We will see. All right. So today I'm gonna try to play some War Factories, as the title said. This is originally why I made this account, and we'll see if we can get some out. Now, usually that doesn't really work out that well because you can't really force factories into every board unless you want to finish. But as a carry unit, it's a little bit tricky sometimes. All right, let's see it. So in terms of tech, I'm not sure if I want Interceptor. Probably do. I think that's fine. $1,600, okay. The reason why it's that low is I made it a few days before the deranking happened. Alright, doesn't really look like a start for a factory. We could go for the hounds as our chaff clearing unit and some steerboard aggression. I think I like that. Okay. I think we just deploy them pretty much on the line. See how that does. And he goes for a normal Arclight deployment instead. Okay. Interesting. Steel Balls are tanking that first and second Stormcrawler wave for the doggies, which is quite nice. We do lose the left side, but it's not really by much. Nice. Steamboat unit also close to leveling here. Missile strike and mobile beacon, both very good here. I guess he's gonna missile strike me, or what should we expect? I think I will take this strike for now. And I guess one side crawler. I might actually be able to split those. I think I like that one better. He goes for a full marksman defense. That's actually quite nice for us. I think that's favorable if we are going factory play. Or worm play, both. So a cute little flank. It's doing lots of work. We just need some more chaff here. We should be able to get that tower. Well, we even do get the tower this turn, but it's not quite enough. Ooh, quadruple fang deployment. Also double phoenix, which is very strong. I guess I have to take the phoenix, right? I'll drop those phoenixes. I would like to get Hound range here. Can't quite get it. Well, actually I can. Whoops. Bad at math, apparently. Not sure what to do with the last crawler. I think I will just keep it behind here. Oh, actually, just go for a double rhino here. Interesting. So he is expecting some more hounds back there. Good for us because we have the phoenixes anyway. And the Rhino can be answered by pretty much anything we like. Oh, tower debuff is not good. Efficient tech might be still worth picking here. Super heavy armor is very nice though. I think I like the super heavy for the steel ball. Makes that very, very annoying to deal with. Upgrade the phoenixes. And I think just having more phoenixes on the board here is probably worth it. Deploy one more late crawler here. Ooh, he goes quick reload, okay. This guy is playing like me. Problem is he can't really clear the steel balls very much, and that's a huge issue, because those are now super heavy armored steel balls. So they will be very, very tanky, even against level 3 marksmen. And I also have air superiority. And this is not even our fastest form. Deployment module, I could actually do that and drop the Hound out of this, because the Rhino will clear them anyway. I think I like that. I will drop the Hound straight up here to kill that unit of fangs here. Like so. So Mech Rage this turn for sure. One more Phoenix. And one more Crawler. He still does not want to oil or anything. Interesting. Oh nice, he deploys a Fang straight up into the missile. Feels good, man. My steel ball split here actually, that's pretty nice. Guess we get to kill that Rhino. And the tower. Or both towers actually. Right, can we just War Factory this? What is he gonna take? He's gonna take the Vulcan, right? So I'm thinking factory play here. Alright, let's see how that does. There's the Vulcan. So the factory should neutralize half of his board here. Hopefully allow our hounds to survive a little bit longer. We get onto the tower. And then the entire thing collapses in itself. I'm not sure if it's enough damage to one-shot him though. And it is. GG. So we did manage to fit in one single war factory, but to be honest, I think he was dead to warm play anyway. This sort of defense looks nice until you actually get pressured by big HP units, and then you need Melta immediately. Assault Stormcaller. Didn't even see that. Okay. So not the kind of War Factory game that I wanted to squeeze in, but you know, it is something. That's this guy again. Guess it's Rhino spec here. Got another steel ball pack. And here's another defensive pack. Okay. Okay, this looks stupid as hell. This doesn't look much better, but I guess I'll take it. And he goes for his marksman dream again. Okay. Poor Arclight got shreked there. But I think in terms of tower timing this is decent, because we get to clear everything. And then we take his tower when we actually meet. Very nice. Also maximizes the XP the Steelballs get, because we get that tower. Extended range marksman and improved wasp. Oh, actually, this is another barcode. I thought it was the same guy. No, this guy has a different setup. Do we take the wasp here? Nah, I don't think so. I guess we can prepare a hound flank here. Sure, why not? Okay, so he invested into some arc lights. Did not take extend range marksman. Very weird. Need another Stormcaller here. There's a Sandworm and a Wasp squad. I think I will try to play the Sandworm game this time. Because we get to try out the trash Sandworm gameplay. I think other than that, just another Stormcaller. Crawler down the middle. He deploys the Wasp there. Yeah, that's the only thing I was worried about. Because I don't have any anti-air right now, but I guess I can just go for Mustangs if I want to. It's not a bad play here into the Fangs. Especially not Fangs marksman. I should also think about attacking my steel balls here, because I want them for the factory gameplay anyway. Okay, now we got a Rhino and Worm. And a Javelin. Could also take the intense training for a big Worm. Hasty module. I think I like the worm here. Fortress straight away, okay. Interesting choice. But yeah, I think we can just feast on those wasps. Rhino is doing pretty well here as well. And the worm is just stalling that side until the big boys arrive. Good stuff. Hound. We could take that hound, deploy some more, and then we have a big chaff clearing front line. I think I like that. We still don't have that great of a chaff clear at the moment. Another fortress. Oh, with haste module, what the hell? Okay, he sold out of the wasp to get a fortress with haste module. Interesting. So now we have a much more tanky board with all these doggies coming online. I guess now we can also tech into the steel bolts, and fortress gets countered by the factory. Oh no, I burned myself. Oh, that's actually quite bad. Would have liked the oil for one more turn. But you know. So portable sheet has to be picked here, I think. Do we put it on the steel ball? I guess so. I think I still sell out of the Rhino, because I really want my steel balls to be ranged now. Same with the Mustangs. And then we need some frontal fangs here. Look at that missile. Saw that coming. That's why we deploy some fangs there. Oh, it's actually sledge carry now. I guess we can also go scorpions here, because he doesn't have anything and he just pressed launcher overload. Could be a play, because he has so many medium chaff units here. I don't think the steel bolts will cut it. And he also put down some missile interceptor systems, okay. That's actually nice for me, because we get value of killing that. Yeah, this here shielded steel ball is unkillable. Even with all that chaff, he does not have the required damage to finish it. Okay. Another mobile beacon. Do we double mobile beacon? I think I will skip. And we will bring out the big boy. Do we need range on that? I mean, it could be very valuable here. I think we range it. Okay, we are very easy to kill on this side if he sees that coming. Kind of does, kind of doesn't. I think the factory will come in effect before the wasp will. Hopefully. Hello? Can we take the tower? Ugh. Barely, just barely. But yeah, other than that, the wasp obviously doesn't do anything because we have the Mustangs already. And that's a finisher. Interesting. Carry fortress, pretty much. I don't even think that would have worked even if I didn't go for factory. I think steel bolts would have killed him. Alrighty. Sabertooth with doggos. I don't like any of these. I think I will go for the supply spec. Okay, maybe we can just tempo out the Stormcaller thing with the interception, the add-on run. Okay, never mind. Guess that is not how that works. What do we deploy against that? Guess it's just crawlers, pretty much. Sure. What is that Stormcaller spray? Holy moly. Didn't hit anything. Oh no. This is so weird sometimes. The Stormcaller is such a wonky unit. Sometimes it does very well and sometimes it does absolutely horrible. And there's no real way to tell how it's gonna perform. Oh, is this elite? It's an elite spec, okay. Rip Sabertooth. Can the 4 crawlers make it? No. They cannot. Alright. Let's see if we can get this done. Got Phoenix, Farseer, Wraith, Fire Batcher. Guess has to be Farseer as always, right? Phoenix into Marksman, Wraith into Marksman. Doesn't sound that great. The Fire Badger is pretty strong here. I guess I will go for the Farseer. We actually don't have that much space here. Are we afraid of any backdoor attempts? Maybe. So I guess front has to be saturated here because we have the little Stormcaller here. We have that for next turn. And I will put down a doggo in the corner here. In case he deploys Fangs here. He does not, but there's a Farseer here, okay. So he's going very light on Chaff. Just drop some Chaff clear. Very nice. Sabertooth just gets that for free pretty much. I like. Farseers do just trade here, I think. Ah, the marksman is cheating actually. I really wish I had Interceptor right now. But usually it's not a good pick, so meh. Never know, you never know. Underground threat is pretty strong here. Guess we can drop that to the other side. That is an annoying sound check. Alright, do we believe in the saber? Kind of. I think what I want here is Mustangs pretty much. I think would really like to stop that interception from that rocket fire from happening. I want the fangs gone. I want some fodder for the marksman. So we will die to a underground threat here ourselves. Do we just defend that with our underground? Maybe we should, right? Something like this. Let's deploy more fangs. Actually level 2 fangs, that's quite nice. One crawler is escaping to our other tower here. Level 2 crawlers are a little bit hard to get for us. Yeah, we do win the crawler war. We also win the frontline war this time. And the crawler is working hard, but he does not manage to get through this. Come on, Mustang. Ah, he did not make it. Would have been nice. It's a level 2 marksman after all. It's a pretty high value unit. Okay. Nano repair kit. Could put that on the saber. Nano repair kit sabers are very annoying, even for stormcallers. Super heavy, same. Yeah, I think I like that. Arrange the callers here. Try to delay that other side from coming in. I think upgrading the fuzz here is probably worth more than upgrading this guy. And then I guess some later crawlers would be nice. Just in case I get cheesed here. I mean, I'm not very cheese proof on this side, so have to be careful here. I get oiled instead, okay? I mean, if he continues with this low chuff shenanigans, I think we can go Mustang Interceptor into Hacker. Because these 3 units get countered by Mustangs alone, the Fangs also. And then the Hackers can deal with the Arclight threat. This flank is now wide open because the level 2 cross escaped. And they will keep feeding this Hound unit here. The Hounds can deal with level 2 crawlers just fine. And then our Sabertooth only dies to big damage Melter play pretty much. Right, efficient tech research. I mean, I can do that, but I don't think so. Right, is he gonna go greedy here so we can intercept this oil? Let's hope we can. Okay, let's see it. No fire? Okay. Interesting. He also invested into fast here with EMAG. That is a very bad turn to do so because we have the interception online. And Arclights can keep shooting those saber teeth, I don't care. They are the tanks of this operation. So we're lacking a little bit of damage here, but this is exactly what I was saying. I think if we run Hacker into this as well, I think he just dies. Oh, Fuzzy is doing very well too. Until he got slowed by the oil, that is. Yay. Nice. So we could also go for a War Factory play. If we want to. Are we proof against Raiden, Wraith, Phoenix, Wasp? I think so, because we have the power of the Mustang. He is not very Wasp proof, to be honest. Yeah, I think I will still go for the meme here. I mean, can't be sued for wrong advertisement, right? Advertisement, however it's called, I don't know. Can't fit this here because there's a saber in the way. Where do we put that? Charge shot Arclight, okay. Look at that quadruple shot from the factory, by the way. Beautiful. Okay, he goes Phoenixes here, interesting. The Phoenixes pretty much die just to the Mustangs alone. Not sure why he's running charge shot Arclight into this, to be honest. Okay, tank production, so it's Stormcaller, heavy armor. I think I will skip that. Add another factory. Then we will quadruple. Nuke that. I think like so is probably the best. Okay, he goes double crawler and this one. I guess he wins that, right? Nah, not really, because we have the war factory shooting that. Okay, never mind. He went straight up into Melta. I mean, I outrange him here because we have the Mustang front line. Not sure how that works out for him. But I'm gonna guess it's not going well. Yep. War factory supremacy. Alright, one more turn. I think mobile beacon probably the play. This has to be nuked. Could go for Phoenix production here. I think I like that. Because I need to be cheese-proof from this side. And from this side, would really like to get some missiles here, but we just don't have the money.